Guys, if you haven't checked out the first part of our Q&A, you really should be clicking up here. Click the I icon to find the first part of our questions and answers. But if you've already checked that out, well, let's get back on the road.
Okay, this is just well, there's no name for this one, but what's the most amount of people sleeping in the Kombi at any one time?
Next episode, craziest night of the entire trip. It's coming out as the last episode of season 3. It's going to be a really good one. Even if it starts off a little slow and you think, oh, I don't want to watch this, watch it because the stuff that happens in it is amazing. 6 people was the answer, and it was a really crazy night.
Okay, let's go to the video.
Hi Ben, this is the Ferguson family from Ontario, Canada. We'd just like to say thank you for posting all of your videos. We've been watching them, I think, from the beginning, and we really enjoy them. And since we love traveling in our Volkswagen van so much, but now we have this young family here, we're wondering what your advice on the most family-friendly place that we could take our family to travel and sleep in our van and do all the, well, some of the cool stuff that you get to do.
Looks like we're at the end of our trip now, so I can't answer that question, unfortunately.
Oh, that's a shame.
No, I'm only joking. The reason I'm a little bit like, I don't want to say that is because for me personally, I would take a family of, if I had kids, I would take them to the places that I've been to. I know that especially recently there was a couple of Australians that went to, were found in their van in not too good a state, burnt in their van, sorry. And so some people say it's not safe to do these kind of trips, but for every one disaster that happens, there's like, tens of thousands of people that are having an amazing time. And oh, look at that. And so it's not as dangerous as long as you keep your wits about you. I don't think it's that dangerous. Personally, I would recommend going to Mexico. I would recommend doing the entire trip that I've just done. You have to be a little bit careful, but there's no reason just because you've got kids that you can't do it. I don't know if you're already following Our Open Road. They're a great couple of guys, well, a family of 4 that are, I think, still down in Patagonia, but they've been on the road since 2012. Great blog, check them out on Instagram, Our Open Road. If you're looking for countries to spend a bit of time in, the safer ones are Belize. Nicaragua is actually pretty safe. Costa Rica's all right. Yeah, but you've got to pass through all the other countries that have a bit of a worse reputation. So, it's swings and roundabouts. But to be honest, guys, I know I could say go to the national parks in Canada and the States, but that's not really what you want to do, is it? You want to know how is it going to be safe for me to go down to Latin America? In my opinion, yeah, do it. Do it now before your kids get too old, because you might decide once they get to school age that you want to stay in school. They stay in one place so they can go to school if you're not going to do homeschooling.
All right, let's get another video.
All right.
This is Chris from Seattle, I think.
Hey Ben, Chris, Fisherman's Terminal in Seattle. I've got a question for you, Ben. What do you do to meet people when you're on the road? I've traveled by van up and down the West Coast. Frankly, a lot of the people I come in contact are a little sketchier than the attractive people that you associate yourself with. So, what are your tips for meeting interesting folks when you are traveling? Have a good 2016, and I can't wait to see you guys back in the Kombi.
It is actually a really good question, and a lot of people have asked that question. There is a subtle difference here, okay? Basically, anybody that's traveling that's outside of their home country and they're kind of on a journey, on an adventure of their own, 99.9% of the time I would trust them, because there's just something about the traveling community that just you can trust travelers. The difference is that people traveling within their own country, sometimes they're more kind of vagrants rather than travelers, or street kids, and you can't always trust them. And I picked up a couple of them. Some positive experience, some less than positive, and I didn't really get good vibes, so they didn't stay in the Kombi all that long. But I think for the most part, if I know they're foreign and I know they're trying to get somewhere because they've got a mission, a purpose, then I feel a lot more comfortable trusting them. And I think as well, if you put yourself out there, then people respect that, and they respect your project, and they respect your house, your Kombi, you know. So
All right, Simon Ollie says, if you're starting over in Chile, would you pick a Kombi for the ride?
I would, because basically the Kombi spread a lot of smiles. You know, coming into a town that you've never been in before, and like there's kids or adults all over the place pointing and looking, and like it just brings smiles to people's faces. And it was a difficult, it wasn't really the most appropriate vehicle for the journey, but I felt like I really needed to learn some patience on this trip, and it taught me a lot. So I'm grateful for everything the Kombi has brought me. It's raining.
Okay, this is quite a deep question.
Ooh.
Where do you think you'll be, or hope to be, in 10 years from now?
I would love to be making videos still, doing adventures around the world, crazy projects like the Astra Alaska one, but similar but different, and sharing it with you on YouTube. However, I'm a realist, and I don't think that that's possible, mainly because it's really difficult to support yourself whilst you do that. And I've been putting a lot of effort into it. The videos that I tend to make are usually with like other videos over the top. Most people, if they were to do a Q&A like this, they would just sit in front of the camera like we're doing right now and just talk and answer your questions and not care if people watch it or not and move on to the next one. I do care if it's interesting, and so I try to make each episode as good as possible, and I think that's kind of my downfall. So I don't think I'm going to be doing this. I would like to be doing this, but I don't think I will be. Let's go for a drive.
Ready for another video question?
All right.
How do you financially support yourself while on the road?
I think that's Ericsson.
That was Ericsson. Good question, and quite a few people have asked that question as well. Maybe I should just check and see if the camera's running. I haven't stalled it.
All good?
Yeah, see, GoPro 4, like way better than GoPro 3. No problems with the GoPro 4. That's a good camera. How do I financially support myself on the road? With great difficulty. I've actually recently made an article on the website about how much money I make as a YouTuber. It's not very much, by the way, but go and read it, it's interesting. It tells you where all my revenue streams come from. Sometimes people buy t-shirts, but not very often. We've just started asking people to buy items through Amazon, so we get some money through affiliate marketing, which means anything you buy from Amazon via our links on kombilife.com, you guys basically are putting a small percentage into our gas tank, and it doesn't cost you anything, so we really like that. So that kind of helps put food in my belly and shirts on my back, and I spend... Are you going? Yeah. The main way that I manage to financially support myself is by spending very little. I spend around $10 a day, and I do that by sharing...
Is that it?
Yeah. I do that by sharing the bus with the people I'm with. So if everybody brings $10 each, that's $40 for the day, or $60 for the day. That's easily enough to put some gas in your tank and some food in your belly, you know? And the problem comes when I have to do things like sort out visas, or like transmissions blow, and that's when I have to fly across the other side of the world and get a job with my dad.
That's insane, just $10 a day?
Yeah, travel's pretty cheap if you do it the way I do it. I'm actually going to write an ebook about this, because I think there's a lot of stuff that I can share with you guys, that other people that want to travel, like tips on how to go further for less, basically. I feel like I should share. I've been doing it for 7 years. Like my last proper job, my last proper pay packet was in 2008. So yeah, I got pretty good at that.
So a bit like the book that's out there, Travel on a Shoestring then?
No, way better. Because all those books, like how to travel for $50 a day, how to travel for even $20 a day, I've seen. But like, literally, you can do it for even less.
I get working on that book, Ben.
Yeah, I know. In between making all the videos.
Right, next question. This is from Calvin. Have you ever been broken into or had anything stolen from the van?
Yes, we've been broken into a few times. A funny one was when we were sleeping outside a garage in Mexico, and this taxi pulled up and 5 guys jumped out and started yanking the battery out of the engine underneath my head while I was sleeping. So I kind of jumped out in my underwear and
scared them off.
Yeah, I literally. I was like, what the hell are you doing? In Spanish, they were like, they all, like jumped back into the taxi and like went off. It wasn't until afterwards I thought, well, that was a little bit of a risky move. I didn't even take the machete with me. But the worst time we ever got broken into was when Sean was sleeping in the bus. I was working under, like, fixing something on the engine. She was sleeping inside. Somebody just walked past in Bolivia, in La Paz, opened the door, took her little bag that she just bought, which had like $1,000 camera, her phone, all of her credit cards and her passport, which was an absolute nightmare for her and a big loss. So yeah, it happens. You've got to really have your wits about you and always have your valuables in sight.
Alright, we've got a question from Jacob Hayden from Facebook. It says, what would be your favourite thing about Kombi Life and your least favourite, excluding breakdowns?
Favourite thing about Kombi Life? Probably the fact that I get to like meet so many cool people and go to so many cool places on a really small budget. But no, actually, my favourite thing about Kombi Life is probably all the lessons that it's taught me and the personal growth that I've gone through on this journey. That's my favourite. My least favourite thing is the fact that it's really hard for me to maintain and build a relationship. Like, you know, I had Sian as a girlfriend that I met on the road, but apart from that, like, it's been pretty difficult to meet somebody and convince them to come into the Kombi with me.
Alright, this is a good one. Have you ever had to kick someone off the bus?
Not really, to be honest. Yes, I have, but like not. It hasn't happened too often. Sometimes I say, look, guys, I'm just like a bit stressed. I need a bit of time to myself, and I've asked people to leave. Yeah, and sometimes they just don't. It's once they get into the bus, they just don't want to leave. So I don't really want to say too much about this because what if he's watching?
Should we move on to another question?
Yeah, let's move on to another question.
Okay, this one's from Mark Reed 106 off Instagram. Oh, it's quite interesting. It says, do you ever feel safe? It says he doesn't feel safe in his own country, let alone third world countries. You probably wouldn't know that.
Yeah, like, you know, after people try the door in the middle of the night and, you know, you wake up. One time we woke up and the bus was surrounded by guys with machetes. They were peering through the window. Me and Sian were sleeping in the back with no clothes on. They were just like being nosy. You know, if they're gonna break it, like if they're gonna wake me up in the middle of the night and tell me that I've got to hand over all my valuables, I'll do it. Like, I'm not gonna play a hero as long as like the important stuff is stashed away. Like, I don't really mind. That way, I know that I can't lose anything too valuable, and I can put myself in more dodgy places. Because it doesn't matter if the worst happens.
All right, let's watch another video.
Hi Ben, my question for you is, have you ever gotten a speeding ticket in Capito? And if so, how fast were you going?
That's Victor from Norway.
Victor from Norway. Not in that Kombi, mate. Like, no, it just doesn't go fast enough to get a speeding ticket. Even downhill, like, with no brakes, it still doesn't really go fast enough. But I have been pulled over by the police plenty of times in, like, Mexico and Peru, telling me that I was speeding, and I just kind of laugh at them and say, no, I wasn't, it's impossible. So no, I haven't had a ticket for that. Everything else, yes, but not that.
Alright, let's watch another one.
Hello, Ben. This is Jimmy from Minnesota. I've been watching Kombi Life for about 2 years now, and I have a question for you. I was wondering, how hard is it to capture Kombi Life while people are going about their business and all of a sudden you start filming, or when you're trying to make conversation, or even narrate in the editing process? How do you overcome some of the awkward barriers?
Sometimes it's difficult because, like, someone will say something golden, you'll be like, oh, you get the camera and you say it again, the same thing, and they're like, I just said you gotta seize life by the balls, you know? And like, no, it didn't really come out as well the second time, but thanks. Like, I wish that I had some people with me filming Kombi Life and we could capture all those moments as they happen and it's just pure gold. But unfortunately, that's not the case. The other hard thing is that Kombi Life is filmed by the people that are in the Kombi with me, and so I have to explain time and time again, no, don't hold the camera up this way because it doesn't work, you have to hold it this way, or, you know, like, explain to people the shot that I want, and it doesn't look like, it's kind of hard having to direct amateurs, even though I'm an amateur, like people that have never held a camera and never for anything other than a photo. It's difficult. It's really hard to film Kombi Life.
Just so patient, right?
I'm super patient.
Never get annoyed.
Next question!
Right, on that note, Michael's got a question for you. What was your original plan before you left for Alaska trip? And why did you buy a car when you could hitchhike? Or even walk. Yeah, that's so lazy, Ben. Why don't you just walk?
Well, why don't I just walk to Alaska
Yeah.
from Chile? Yeah, why didn't I think of that?
Yeah, all the socks.
There's an ambulance.
Christmas, kid pair boots.
I was basically hitchhiking around Latin America, getting some buses when I couldn't hitchhike because the distances are massive, man. Like it's huge. Just hitchhiking across Argentina is no small task. Obviously people do it, and I've hitchhiked in many places around the world. It's fun, but it does also get a little bit lonely when you just like, it's hard to rock up at a hostel and say, hey, does anyone fancy walking to Brazil? Like, no, like no one wants to come with you, so you're on your own. So to bring some travel mates with me and give something back to the travel community, I got the van and started the Astra Alaska project.
Alright, let's watch a video.
Oh, wait. By the way, guys, this is Jersey's 5 mile road. It's our longest road. I think it's actually 3 miles long, but it's called
2.5.
It's 2.5 miles long, but it's called the 5 mile. You drive there and back, it's a 5 mile road. The speed limit all over Jersey is 40 miles an hour, tops, so...
There's about 4 roads you're actually legally allowed to do from New Zealand.
yeah, most of the time you're going to do 30 or even 15. I don't know if you can see if the camera on the roof's still working, but these are like old forts. You know what that one's called?
There's Kemp Tower.
That's Kemp Tower, I think. But like, just this place is full of old forts. It's really, really cool. I'm actually filming a bit of a Jersey episode that will come out in the Alaska episode, like in the series when all of this scenario happens, when I have to go off to Jersey and stuff. So I'm filming a little bit about Jersey because I really want you guys to see this place. It's amazing, and it explains a lot about who I am when you see how beautiful and how much adventure could be had on this tiny island. Question.
Apart from the transmission dying in Alaska, what was the worst thing that happened during your whole trip?
Alright. The worst thing that happened on this entire trip hasn't been documented, hasn't been shared publicly, and isn't really my place to answer that question because it's not to do with me, Harry. So I'm sorry that I can't give you the exact answer. There was a guy that was shot just outside the Kombi. That was pretty awful. We were speaking to him when we just arrived in Argentina at the very beginning of the trip, and a policeman shot him, boom, dead straight away, point blank. So that was pretty bad. And I think the worst thing that happened to me was Sean leaving. Next
question, this is from Liam Hultelet. He says, what's your next adventure?
I'm either going to buy a boat and sail around the world, or I'm going to drive to India. Each time I do like a travel project, I don't just travel somewhere. Like with Astra Alaska, I travelled and shared the bus to make it unique. So I will always do something that makes it a little more unique. It won't just be travel here and do, tick box X. I will do something fun. I will be announcing more details about what's coming up, but it all depends on basically how much support I can get, how much I can grow the channel. Because if I can grow the channel, then I can get more sponsors, and then I can actually afford to do this kind of series. I can't afford to just keep paying out to produce this kind of stuff. It's not self-sustainable. So I need a sponsor. So I need to grow the channel, and you guys can help me do that by sharing all the content. Please tell your mates about Kombi Life. And I tell you what, guys, each time we get to like another 10,000 subscribers, like 50, 60, 70, 80, if we make it that far, then I will release another kind of Q&A or some kind of fun special video to celebrate. Okay, so there's your incentive to help me grow the channel.
Fun
right?
video, you've set the bar high now.
I know, this is so fun, isn't it?
You're going to be able to...
I'm sure they're appreciating seeing Jersey. We are now in the parish of St. Juan.
Best parish?
Can you do a Jersey accent?
Abakra.
Oh, Bakra, my love, eh?
Let's get the spuds from the cooties, eh?
Oh, right then.
Better than your milk up of fun.
I can't really speak in a Jersey accent, eh? But I'll tell you what, if we were speaking in a Jersey accent, that's what we'd be speaking like, my love. Aren't you glad now that I speak with some kind of weird Aussie British accent, eh? Alright. Camera fail number 3, so we're just going to record the last section, which is X-rated. So please make sure that your children are not in the room because the adults are going to have a little chat now, okay?
You ready, Ben?
I'm ready.
Okay.
I was born ready for these horribly awkward questions.
Okay, first one. Do you think you'll ask Sean to marry you?
That's not really an X-rated question. Maybe it's because the answer's X-rated.
Why?
Next question.
Oh, that's an interesting one. How much sex have you had in the van?
How do you even measure that? Like, some?
Well, you've not kept count.
I don't know, how do you measure how much sex, I don't know, how much sex do you have? Is it a daily thing, a weekly thing, or when you get married it's like a yearly thing on your birthday, right? Well, I don't know, that's what I've heard. Enough, not enough. There's always room for more. Some, I don't know. Next.
Alright, San Wages wants to know, are you bi?
Am I buying what?
Never, see what you did there.
Yeah, whatever you're selling, I'm buying. I can see why you might say that. Look at these beautiful locks. But no, I like girls. Girls are my favourite. I definitely don't really like boys. Thanks for asking though.
Next one. Were you and Sean in an exclusive relationship that you violated when she was away? Is that why she left you?
Everyone always thinks
Also,
there's like...
did you break her heart?
Did I break her heart? No, she broke my heart. But everyone always thinks there's more to that story. Just no, it was just distance, and you know, she decided she wanted to pursue other things and decided she didn't want to have me in her life anymore. I didn't violate any kind of that's pretty, any kind of relationship. What do you call it? Exclusive relationship? Yes, we were exclusive, but I didn't do anything I shouldn't have done. I was a good boy.
Next one. Did you have sex with some or all of the female guests who travelled with you?
Yes.
Is that it?
Well, he said some or all, and so the answer is yes.
Okay. This one's from Ignatius. It says, I've pretty much fallen in love with every girl that's been filmed in your van. How do you manage not to?
Yeah, good question. There's been some pretty cool people in that van, eh? Some beautiful ladies and some really beautiful souls as well. So I think honestly, like a serious answer to this, these awkward questions, is that this trip, this Alaska trip, and travel in general for a long period of time has kind of hardened my heart a little bit. I'm used to saying goodbyes now, and so it takes me a long time to fall in love with somebody. You know, I don't know, I'm just not as like quick to fall head over heels as I was when I was 20, and so that's why that I haven't fallen in love with all these beautiful people along the way, and they're not around long enough, you know. Like, I know that I meet someone, they might be around for a little while and they might seem like amazing and we might have a great connection, but I'm just not there long enough to fall in love with them, or they're not there long enough for me to fall in love with them, and vice versa.
Alright, but back to the juicy stuff. Beatrice wants to know what's going on underneath the sheets. There's far too little room in there for something not to happen.
Yeah, there's not much room, is there? You know, especially when you get like 3 or 4 people sleeping in the bed, there's got to be a bit of spooning action. Like when it gets cold, yeah, sure, we spoon, you know. Everyone likes a little cuddle, but not really anything else. It's not like we're having orgies in the back of the van. Like, not, you know, maybe on a Friday night, there's nothing else to do. That looks nice. But there's not really, no, there's not as much going on under the sheets as you might like to think there is. Sorry to disappoint, guys.
Cue less people wanting to come in the van now.
Yeah, that's why everybody writes like, I'd like to join Kombi Life, but we've been considering that kind of lifestyle for a while, and I would really like to come and sample some of that, you know, especially that time that I had all those Scandinavian girls in there. They weren't even Scandinavian, they were Nordic. I do apologise.
Okay, last question.
Last question, guys. Thank you very much for watching. If any of you have stayed through all of this, I'm like, honestly, I appreciate it, because like people don't usually watch all of these kind of videos, and I appreciate it if you hung around until this point.
Okay, this is a good one to end on.
Go on.
What is the ground speed of an unladen swallow?
That's from John, isn't it?
Yeah, John Norris.
Thanks for that, John, but you know, ask me a hard one. Everybody knows that. 24 miles an hour. See you next time. Thanks for watching, guys. If you'd like to check out something else, why not check out one of our Mexican adventures? We've got a new episode coming soon, so be sure to subscribe if you haven't done so already. If you want to help us continue to document our travels in 2016, please consider signing up to Patreon. It helps us make better content more frequently, and we could really use a hand. Click this link for more info.